Hi guys, welcome to Mango Salad. The voice behind Mango Salad has a face. I am Kayla, and if you're new here, I do story times, motivation, just learning. And as we go, we're gonna be learning this together. I would say, this is my fourth episode. So let me know. Let me know. Can't even English. Can you tell I'm nervous? Trying not to be. Let me know how you guys think of this, if you like it better like this, or if you like it better just hearing my voice. Let me know. So for today's episode, I want to get into this topic, and I don't want, like, when I tell you guys story times, I don't want you to, like, feel sympathy. I'm not asking, like, for pity. It really is just talking about, like, instances in my life of, like, how it affected me and how I grew to be better as, like, a human being because of the things that happened to me. So just don't, like, this isn't to, like, make you feel bad or, like, sympathy. It's to say, wow, like, that happened to Kayla, so I can, I can do better, if that makes sense. If that is making sense, but hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a story time that happened to me in middle school, actually. It was my first real heartbreak, which is crazy. My first real heartbreak was with a girl, but not in, like, it was like a friendship breakup. And it hurt back in the day, and it actually, from that friendship breakup, it taught me a lot about, I'll get into it, like, fast forward, this was the 8th grade. I went the 8th grade. I met, like, these group of girlfriends, and I loved it. I loved every part of it. I loved being part of a girl group. The sleepovers were fun, talking and socializing and just having common interests. But there was this, like, one girl in the friend group, particularly, with all of us. We were friends, but some of us were, like, closer than others. I would say that this one was closer. Me and her, like, had more so of, like, a connection, I feel like, besides the other girls. Like, we were all friends, but this one was more, like, we were more friends. And the reason why, like, I bring this up is I had my first boyfriend in the 8th grade, and imagine, like back in the day, like, One Direction was, like, a big thing, and everybody was, picking out, like, who we liked. And I think that the reason why, like, this happened the way it did is because I kind of, like, how do I explain this? Like, when you glorify a person, kind of like, in, like, have you ever seen High School Musical? Everybody was obsessed with, like, Troy Bolton, and that was, like, a thing. Like, all the girls would be like, oh my god, Troy Bolton. This was kind of like that in a way for us girls, 8th grade. So this guy was different. He wasn't like anybody else compared to everybody else that we, like, grew up with. And I ended up dating him, however you date in, like, the 8th grade. But we dated for a little bit, and I wish that I didn't, because I mean, I realized it at the time, but I didn't realize it, like, how I could affect, like, her. Because this girl that I, like, said about, like, we were friends in the 8th grade, and we were, like, close or whatever. I could tell that she liked him, but she never actually, like, we never had that, like, conversation of it. And, like, of course, I was vocal about how I liked him and stuff, and she was actually the person to, like, get us together, like, formally, which is kind of weird, but it did. I remember playing this, like, game of, like, 21 questions, and his question was like, will you be my girlfriend? And I was like, oh my god, yes. But the reason why this is, like, even had, like, initiated was because of this friend that I had. And I think that she was just trying to be a good friend to me, but at the same time she liked him. But it was, like, different because they had met, I guess, in the 7th grade, but nothing ever went out of it. It was just kind of like a platonic, I guess, friendship. And then 8th grade comes around, I come around, and of course I guess I have like the confidence to say that I like this guy. And then we ended up dating, not even dating, what 8th grade dating is, which is funny. But I could tell it hurt her, and we never actually like talked about it, but I definitely felt it because form of like bullying happened. And I don't even like blame this girl, like the friends that were like friends, like they all turned against me, and I was like really upset about it because I was just like, why? Like, but I didn't understand at the time, and who knows, maybe they feel a different way as to why we had like beef or whatever. But I truly believe it stemmed from me dating him and her liking him. And I honestly wish, if like looking back now, and of course I was like little, and like I said, it was like looking up to him as like a person like One Direction or like Troy Bolton. It was like every girl liked him, and he was just like so popular, blah blah blah, unique. And I really think that's why I liked him. But of course it didn't last long. And fast forward, after like said friends and we moved on. I went to high school, and of course they did too, and like we moved on and so forth. I don't know how I found this out, but I guess they like dated after, and it did hurt a little bit. Like I was just like, ouch. It, you know, like of course it makes sense. Like she liked him like before me, they met first, and then here comes me, and of course we're not friends, so maybe that was like the mentality. But yeah. And I'm not saying this like to feel sympathy, it's just what the message of this video is. Years later, I would say, like now compared to, actually this happened last year, so 2025. I still follow her like on social media, and if you ever see this, I'm not saying this to be ugly or, you know, I've moved on, and I am so happy that you are happy, and hopefully you're happy. Anyways, I get this DM from this guy, and he's commenting on my pictures, being like, oh my god, so hot. I look, and of course I see this girl that was me and friends for so long, for forever long ago, and then of course like we had our separation, and I saw that they were dating, and I was like, that's weird, so I just like ignored it. But then he just kept liking my pictures, and you know, just doing like cheaty man stuff. And eventually I had posted a picture, and he was like, ooh. And I remember like pulling up one of his pictures with this girl, and I commented, I was like, you know, do better. Like if you're not happy, just leave the girl. There's no sense of cheating or like doing anything sketchy like that. But that's like big for me, because in like movies and social media, they like glamorize like getting revenge and doing the wrong thing, and like, oh, like yes, I could have, you know, befriended or whatever with this guy that she was dating, but would that make me feel better? No, because honestly it would probably have made me feel worse. I just don't think that, you know, that's okay, and I'm happy that I didn't, because, you know, I could have been that person to, like, I've learned that it's easier to be a poopy person than it is to be a decent person, because it actually takes you being mature, being like, I'm the bigger person. I can, you know, it's not right to hurt somebody just because of said past or whatever, that she hurt me. So then I thought about that, like, I was like, I'm actually pretty proud that I never just, I stood up for her. I was like, that's not right, like, you've got a girlfriend, you know, do the right thing. And then I ended up blocking him, haven't heard anything, and of course, like, they broke up for whatever reason, but it wasn't me, and I could have been, you know, oh, you hurt me in the 8th grade, you dated my first boyfriend, so I'm gonna go after your boyfriend. Like, no, like, and it's like I said, especially in like social media and like media, they glamorize like doing like the, oh, being the bad girl, and you're supposed to feel so like good about that, but it's just not. Like, It really isn't. Like, and it really does take like a hard person to just realize, like, you know, that happened with me, that sucks. I'm not gonna be that person to hurt somebody just because I was hurt. Like, and I'm really happy that I did that. I felt like, and it, like I said, this topic has been on my mind for a while because I really wanted to say that, because I look at things like on, you know, like my Instagram and Snapchat of like TV shows and stuff. They like to have all this drama and stuff, so it like glorifies and makes it seem like it's okay to do stuff like that, which it's not. Like, we should be showing empathy and care, and, you know, just because somebody was hurt, and, you know, I don't even blame the girl for going after that guy, because if I was in the mentality that I am right now, I wouldn't have done that. I would have been like, I can tell. Or like, maybe we would have had a conversation about that and I would have made that decision to not. But since I was only 14, of course I did that, and maybe, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I just want that to be like the moral of the story of, like, just because something happens to you doesn't mean you have to do something ugly to somebody as like a revenge. Like, the best revenge is moving on and being the better person and saying, like, because I have peace. Like, it wouldn't have made me happy to go after him and to sit with him being like, oh yeah, I ruined a relationship. Like, no. So yeah, guys, just think about that, like, moving forward, and try to be like, it's always good to be like the better person. I know it's hard. It can be hard because, you know, when we're upset, we're angry, we just want to like hurt, you know, like there's a saying, like, if you've ever heard of it, misery loves company. It is so true. So, and I'm just happy that I did not do that, because it wouldn't have been worth it. I would have had, you know, the guilt, and instead of like what you see in the movies of like, oh, I got her back, which is, it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it, because I don't want to be the reason somebody like cries and is upset and is like, oh, you know, like, it's just not good. So that's like my moral and idea of like this podcast, is to just, I know it's hard, but it's also like rewarding to try, and, you know, we can't always be perfect, but we can try to be good, and, you know, just, like I said, be the bigger person. And yeah, just because somebody hurt you doesn't mean you need to hurt them, and it won't make you feel, and it won't like give you brownie points, or you won't get any medals from hurting somebody. Honestly, it's just not good. So yeah, spread the love, Mango Salad. This is my podcast for today. Let me know if you like me talking and you can see my face. I'm a person. I exist. I'm not just a voice. And forgive me if I'm a little nervous. I am a little nervous. You can see me if when I'm on the podcast and you can hear my voice, I can at least hide. But I was like, intro, because it definitely cut off. I need to buy more storage on my iPhone, apparently. So this is the outro to Mango Salad. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get more comfortable. I'm gonna do this because it's gonna rock, and I hope you guys will love it, because I love talking and doing YouTube and podcasting and stuff. But anyways, thank you guys for listening to my podcast. Hopefully you think to yourself, you know, moving forward of what I was saying, the initial message. Let me know if you liked it. Anyways, happy Mango Monday. I will see you next Mango Monday. Bye.